Welcome in. I am the Crypto Bull God, and this is All in the Charts. If you appreciate the content, make sure to hit the thumbs up button, drop me a comment, click the bell icon for all notifications to know when I go live, whenever I decide. You can follow me on X, you can follow me on Twitter, obviously here on YouTube. You can even follow me on Instagram for some motivational gym stuff if you're into that. So I really enjoyed coming out here. Welcome in, Juan. Good to see you. Drop a few TA questions in the chat. So I really enjoyed coming out here yesterday. I haven't been live streaming in a while, and going to be getting back into regularly live streaming once things kick up here, expected in the fourth quarter. But I enjoyed coming out yesterday, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to come out again today. And the basic premise of today's live stream is to hit on this subject about an inflection point, which I think we're certainly at. And actually, much of the live stream yesterday hit on it. But the secondary thing that I wanted to do in this live stream is really focus on the altcoins and take some questions from you guys. So feel free. Any charts that you want me to take a look at, pop it within reason. Pop them into the chat, and I will take a look. So let's kick things off here. Gotta do some cardio. What kind of cardio are you doing, my friend? Are you... So I do, real quick, I do from a cardio perspective, I like using the stair climber, I like using the elliptical machine, and I like doing incline walks. You set that treadmill at the highest incline. You don't need to go fast. You can go 2 miles an hour if you want. You can get a good workout doing that. Let me know what cardio you're doing. I'm curious. Okay, so let's take a look at Bitcoin here. Bitcoin is attempting, not a surprise, we're getting rejected at this red line right here. Again, this was the last bounce lower high. We kind of, you can see this last lower high, we got rejected here. We're trying to not get rejected this time and stay above here. But again, this whole area right here is just... everything is coiling up because we're right in between the moving average and an area of price confluence. So it's going to be really interesting to see what price does. If you guys are paying attention to all these PPI, CPI prints, just remember the news follows the charts. Okay, the charts are not following the news, despite what many believe. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here. Again, sort of the line in the sand that I want to cross is this 117.4 area once we can pop back above there. Ethereum, we didn't look at Ethereum yesterday. If we take a look at recent, to me personally, this is a very messy looking chart. This is Ethereum on the weekly. This is not a very clean chart. Not a very clean chart. To any extent here, you can see that this area right here that was once resistance, the key thing to focus on in this chart is we're pressed right up against prior all-time highs that we haven't seen since 2021 and 4 years ago, more than 4 years ago actually. And this double green area was where we were getting rejected for the past few years here, and now it's sitting as support, right? So this chart looks beautiful at the moment. I don't have any concerns about it. If we start to lose this area, we'll have to see if it ends up being a weekly price wick or a candle body. If we do lose this region between 3,900 and 4,100, if we lose that area on a candle body closing basis on the weekly, it should act as resistance. We might be down here for some period of time. I don't expect that. I think the worst case scenario is you get some sort of wick, but I don't see this area ultimately breaking as support. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Let's jump over to Solana. We haven't looked at Solana in a while. Solana is picking up momentum. I haven't charted it, but what I've noticed with Solana, appreciate the engagement on the thumbs up for all of you joining. What I have noticed, though, even though I haven't been charting it, is I have seen it up on a daily basis, higher than Ethereum and Bitcoin on a lot of days in the past couple weeks. Now, as you can see here, the one thing I am pointing out, though, is it's good to see us above here. We can put that as a green support. This is on a weekly basis. We're above this 200 level, which is great. Right now, there is a potential. This is a trend line going from way back in the day that I'm just keeping an eye on, so don't pay attention to that. But there is a potential rising wedge here. I mean, you could even draw it like that, okay? Now, this is a bearish pattern. You're coming, it's wide here, and then you're getting more narrow. Right now, I see a rising wedge, which has a potential to break to the downside. We don't want to see that. So a lot of times, though, what you do find in the market when you're at an inflection point, hence the thumbnail, when you're at an inflection point and the market is about to make, in the case of altcoins, they're about to make a significant move to the upside and really change trend direction. Quite oftentimes you see what is referred to as vertical accumulation. And we could go back, we're not going to, but we could go back in the history in particular, I know this for a fact. You can go back to Bitcoin and see this numerous times where we sort of were in this rising wedge, vertical price area, and then we just broke to the upside. So that is what I'm expecting here. I do expect some sort of break up here towards the 300 to 260 area. A little bit of a rejection will form a new higher low. Okay, we got our higher lows coming in here. So I believe that this rising wedge will be negated, and we're just going to continue to the upside. But we'll have to see. We'll have to allow the charts to develop. There is a bearish pattern here, so we'll have to see how it plays out. If we go to the technicals real quick, this thing looks extremely bullish. To me, I got to tell you, looking at this chart, Ethereum looks like it really wants to rip to the upside. Or excuse me, a Solana. Solana really wants to rip to the upside. If we go to a monthly, oh wow, I haven't even looked at this. We are about to get a MACD cross if we can. Now again, this is a monthly view, so we have to close out the month of September to confirm the MACD cross. We haven't seen us go from bearish to bullish on the MACD cross since December of 2023. And that was when Solana ran from 60 up to nearly 300. So it pulled nearly a 5x. For those who are waiting, and this hits on an important point here that I want everyone to keep in mind when you're selling, because you should, the point of investing is to buy and sell. So we want to make sure to sell when it makes sense. If you're waiting for a $1,000 Solana, I don't think it's going to get to $1,000. Maybe it gets to 700, 900. I don't know that it's going to hit exactly $1,000. Make sure that for altcoins like Solana, any altcoin that you hold, you have target ranges, right? Even if I think, for example, that Solana is going to top out anywhere between 700 to 900, it would be smart to start scaling out at 500, to start scaling out at 600. And again, the percentages that you scale out depend upon how risk adverse you want to be. Do you want to be more aggressive? Let me phrase this correctly. Do you want to be more aggressive in your sell strategy? Meaning, you could interpret that a couple different ways, but do you want to be more aggressive with your profit taking in the sense that you're waiting for higher levels, or do you want to be more conservative with your profit taking and sell a huge chunk even before we hit 700 to 900 if that happens, right? Because the reality is I can come out here, anyone can come out here, you could evaluate a chart and you could say, well, I think Solana is going to $700 to $1,200, right? What if it never hits those price levels? What if it tops out at 500? Well, then you don't want to become a bag holder. You want to make sure that you're selling on the way up as things are getting euphoric. Just keep that in mind. It's a very, very important point. You don't want to pick a specific dollar level and get fixated on it and then and look to sell everything there. That is a noob move. That is somebody who is very inexperienced in the market. You don't want to do that. You want to DCA out on the way up. Okay, so that was Solana. Do we have any M786WP? It's been a minute. Welcome in, brother. Do we have any TA questions? Let's see what let's see what cardio Juan is doing. I have an elliptical at home, and I started weightlifting a couple months ago. I need to lose 20 kilograms and lose some fat. Well, man, hey, it's good to have goals. Seriously. Just make sure that you're establishing sensical weekly achievements for yourself. Hold yourself accountable. Have some goals in mind for a month. Where do you have a long-term vision? Where do you see yourself 6 months or a year out? And just keep at it, because for somebody who's been weight training literally all of his life, I can speak to the fact that if you stay consistent with something and you work hard at it and you're open-minded, you listen to other people to learn from, and you're sensical about how you're training, it's like a domino effect. It's an accumulation. It's like a snowball going down a hill. You may not see results in the first day, the first week. You see a little bit in the first month. But man, give yourself 6 months to a year, and you will be astonished if you stick with it. So keep it going. Good. I'm glad to hear that. Sedentary lifestyle. If I haven't shared this with you guys already, getting away from the charts for a moment, working in the life insurance industry for a long time as an actuary, I've read mortality studies that were published back in the day, many. And I know Towers Watson published one at one point, and it really sticks out to me. Because in the study, what they found was that living a sedentary lifestyle is worse for your health than being a regular smoker. Think about that. So, and that's what drove me nuts when I had my surgery, that I couldn't really do anything a couple years ago. It's going out of my mind. Throwaway account. I think Cass is cooked. If you want to see, no, I disagree. If you want to see my thoughts on CASPA, check out yesterday's live stream. I did talk about CASPA. I'm not going to be covering it today because we just covered it yesterday. Let's take a look at a few other altcoins. Again, feel free, guys, if you want to put your TA questions into the comments, anything you want me to chart, let me know. If I can open up a list successfully. There we go. Okay, mid caps. This list hasn't been updated in a long time. For shits and giggles, let's take a look at ICP. I know I've spoken poorly about this chart for a long time. Yeah, I really don't know how you can be bullish on this thing. Look at this chart. This is what happens when you have a VC-backed project, you get this ICO project that is backed by VCs, and they get in early and then they dump on retail. This chart is disgusting. Let's get off Tony's Raging Bull indicator. Yeah, we got a long way to go here to get back up. Wow. So it looks like we're establishing a floor around the 480 to 450 level. Okay, you want to see that area hold. If you don't, this is a little messy. If you don't, you're going to be breaking down to levels down here, towards $3 to $4. So you want to see this $4 area hold. The key thing to watch for, you have all this on a chart like this. The way to properly interpret it is, you have all of this, what's called overhead resistance above you. It's the horizontal red lines here. It's me just looking left. All I'm doing is looking at the historical data and drawing lines where there is price confluence, where it makes sense. And you can see it's around $6, $8, and $9.40. $10 is a psychological level. You have to clear all of that overhead resistance above you, and then you have a black descending line. Typically, and I've probably spoken to this many times on this, I know I've spoken to this many times on this channel, typically once a descending area of resistance breaks, it likes to come back and back test this area as support and then continue moving up. So for this one, if you're invested in it, you're just going to have to be patient and await the move up towards this descending resistance here. I mean, the high that was created in early 2024 is all the way up here at $21. That's more than a 4x away from where we're at. Yikes. Okay, that's ICP. I am familiar with the boys club. So I do have exposure. But I have exposure to Brett, which we'll take a look at both charts. I'll take a look at Wolf with you, and then we'll take a look at Brett as well. What exchange? Let's go to get. Not a lot of data. Do you know what exchange I should use that's going to give me the most price information here? Oof, Jesus. That was Land Wolf, not Wolf. I don't have all the price data here. I want to make sure that I'm... Well, I'm going to pick an exchange here that we're going to stick with, and then... Is it Land Wolf? Is that correct? Let's check this out. Let's make sure that I'm looking at the right. Yes, this does look like it's correct. Okay. Yeah, I'm just not as familiar with this token. I know it's in the boys club, but I've never charted it or taken a look at it. So... Taking a look at this chart. Now, I will say, just visually here, there is one thing that I like to see about this chart. Now, clearly we're in a huge downtrend, okay? And this is on a weekly view. We're going to consolidate the price action. Clearly we're on a downtrend. We can take off the moving averages because it's not helpful. A couple things stick out to me. First off, it looks like we could be in a falling wedge. But the other thing that I see that I really like, it almost looks like a rounding bottom. We're coming down here, and then we're starting to level off. And if we can start to, if this area here can just start to curl up here, you could get a nice move up, followed by a big pullback, and then a trend continuation to the upside. So that's just my observation looking at this chart. Now, in terms of areas of price confluence on here, and we'll take a look at the technicals in a moment, we're not going to cover all the areas of resistance, but I'll give you the ones to keep an eye on. You can read the values to the right here. I'm not going to read them off to you because they're so small. Probably should have charted this, multiplying it by 1,000 so we could actually read the numbers. But okay, so those are the main areas of resistance for you. In terms of areas of support, that line is what you want to see hold, okay? You don't want to see us break. You ideally don't want to see us break this line. If it does break this line of support here that we've created a bottom at, look for us to come down to this descending line of support, which is part of the broader falling wedge, okay? That's what I would look for on the price, but yeah, price is attempting to just stabilize here. Now, if we go to the technicals, I mean, we're trying to turn around here, but has some work to do. Let's take a look at Brett, and I'm actually going to grab some water. I didn't bring any water with me here. You know what? Actually, let me grab a sparkling water. These are actually pretty good. Ice sparkling lemonade. Very good. All right. So I noticed Poloniex had a huge volatility yesterday. It was up 40%. Brett was up 40%, and it was there was a disconnect between, there was a gap between what the price was on Poloniex versus other exchanges. Sometimes that happens with smaller assets like that. I want to try to get a more reliable exchange. I guess we'll stick with it. That's where I have the chart. But anyway, we were in a falling wedge here. You can see right now, what I do like to see in the chart is we've broken out of the falling wedge. We have an ascending line of support. You can see we've bounced off of it. We're creating higher lows. That's great to see. Ultimately, though, this bounce that came up here in May of 25 when we were up at 9 cents, I want to start clearing that. Because the thing, any chart that looks similar to this, when you start to pull up charts in crypto, you're going to see a lot of commonalities between what's illustrated on the chart. In this case, if I had to articulate to you outside of the falling wedge what's taking place here, we were very simply in a huge downtrend, right? We had this huge run up in price. We came up over 20 cents, and then we started to retrace, right? This is a double top and retrace. Since then, what has happened on this chart is it seems like we have formed a floor, okay? The floor in this area between 2 cents and 4 cents. Ideally, I would not want to see prices start to close below on a weekly candle basis, below 4 cents. If we are at the point of the cycle that I believe we're at, and if we assume that Brett is going to create new all-time highs, which I do believe we're going to break out above 23 cents, then you want to see 4 cents hold. That's going to keep this trend line intact, the ascending trend line of higher lows, and then it's all about breaking the last lower high, okay? We need to get above this 9 cent mark. So for me, once price levels start to break up, once price levels really start to get up towards 13 cents, that's when things are going to start to get really interesting, because when you see a candle body on Brett close at or above 13 cents, we should be seeing some really nice moves to the upside. So that's what I'd be watching on that chart. Sorry, I didn't see your comment until now. Yeah. Want to know what's in my fridge? I got... I have some beer that I haven't touched in forever. It might be bad. I really don't know. I haven't really been drinking beer. So I got some beer. I have some non-alcoholic beer, which is actually pretty good. I have some diet soda. I have like 2 to 3 diet sodas a week lately. I have some light beer, and then I have some just flavored water like LaCroix or bubbly. That's what is in my fridge. That's just my mini fridge for the office. All right, what other charts do you guys have? Since we're talking about meme coins, let's pull up SPX 6900. It's interesting for me to see some of the commentary surrounding this project. On this channel, what we focus on are the charts, right? I don't come out here and take a shit on Casper because I think negatively about the project. I come out here and I honestly assess, well, the chart looks like shit. So, of course, I'm going to be honest with you. Looking at a chart like Solana, the chart looks beautiful, right? It's most likely going to create new all-time highs. In this case, and it's not because I'm huge on the fundamentals of Solana, it just has a nice chart. When we take a look at SPX 6900, again, you can... I don't care what your explanation of the fundamentals are. The chart is looking very nice. Now, we were in a massive falling wedge that we spoke about. We also talked about a cup and handle pattern that failed, did not reach the technical target of around $3. But since then, we have corrected. So a few observations on the chart. We have corrected, let's see, I like that area right there. Okay, good. Since then, we have corrected, but we've also, interestingly enough, held up on an ascending line of support here. Now, this green region, okay, here with the light blue shading, This was designating what I was viewing as a buy area back here. And I actually did buy some here when we dipped in this area. Okay, we were below $1. I extended this out because as we started to correct, I absolutely saw the scenario where we could see a double bottom. We haven't seen that. Now, this is on a 3-day chart. Not a lot of price history here. A few observations on the technicals on the 3-day. First off, we have some descending resistance we need to clear above. If SPX 6900 is going to shock a lot of people and go a lot higher, it's got to break out of this descending resistance. It's attempting to recover there. The MACD looks very encouraging. We're starting to curl back up. You can see the horizontal bars here are turning from dark red to light red. That's good to see. Also notice the stochastic RSI. Are we above the trigger line, the 20 trigger line? We are at 24. So on the stochastic RSI, the blue is above the orange. Now we just want that orange to get above the 20 as well, and for them to be in the same relative position. The stochastic RSI is turning around. So this, to me, looks like the correction that occurred here is over with. We have to be patient. We don't know that with certainty. We can certainly come back here, but I would suspect higher lows are going to come in. That's what we want to watch for. We can come back here. That's fine. But I want this low, and then this low, and then we get another low, and another low. We want to keep stair-stepping up, right? That's ideally what we want to do. So strong chart. Stronger than a lot of coins out there that people are religiously fanatics about that do not have strong charts. Quiet crowd today. No other TA questions already. Let's see. What else can I chart? Like I said, I charted Caspa yesterday. We already talked about that. Let's take a look at H-bar. We haven't looked at H-bar in a long time. So H-bar, formerly part of the Holy Crypto Trinity. I disbanded the Holy Crypto Trinity. It's amazing. I got some comments on that. What happened to the Holy Crypto Trinity? Do you realize how quickly narratives shift? Oh, I love this rounding bottom. I love the rounding bottom here. You see that? We've been in this correction. Wow, that looks really good. We've been in this correction. Look at this. Look at this here. This looks like it wants to shoot up, pull back, create a higher low, and continue moving up. That's what I see on the chart. Now, let's consolidate price action on H-bar. Excuse me. And let's look at a weekly. Nice. Very, very nice. I want to get more price data, though. There's more price data than this. What exchange is this? Coinbase. Why the hell? Oh, I'm looking at Coinbase because that is the exchange prominent in the U.S. Here we go. Here's all the price data. So you can see this failed. Okay, I had a flagpole, a pennant. Great example. This is a great example of a pattern being present on a chart that has a certain. This is where people really struggle. When a pattern presents itself on the chart, it doesn't guarantee you anything. It just presents two probabilities, a probability of it succeeding and a probability of it failing, right? The failing probability panned out, which was the lower scenario, okay? So it's really that simple. Most times when you get a bull pennant, they pan to the upside. Sometimes, though, it's a false signal and it breaks to the downside, right? That's what makes up the law of numbers, okay, and probabilities. Some go this way, some go this way, right? All right. So we're sitting right above 20 cents, which is great to see. Honestly, assessing the price history of this chart, the more that it's developed, I'm not super crazy about the technicals here. This is a pretty messy chart. You can see we consolidated in this range for a while. We came up here, essentially created a double top, and then rolled over and spent a shit amount of time with the rest of the market consolidating. Now we've come up here. We've touched prior all-time highs, which, by the way, near prior all-time highs, which is very encouraging. But it's just a very messy chart. It's a very messy chart. I like when I pull up a chart for the chart to be really clean and crisp, right? I'm hopeful that once Casper breaks out of 20 cents and we retrospectively look back on it on, say, a 2-week chart in 2026, 27, it does look like a beautiful chart, and that period of consolidation ends up leading into more expansion and then another period of consolidation. That chart has the potential to continue being a beautiful chart. We'll have to see it play out. But as for H-bar, I'm not super crazy about the price action. We'll have to see how it pans out. But we're sitting about 20 cents. If I had to infer where this could go for all the H-barbarians out there. Okay, so MACD, we don't want to see that cross down. RSI is sort of neutral. Stochastic RSI is so-so. If I had to take a guess what's going to happen, we'll clear all-time highs. We'll break 58 cents, and we could head up towards $1. If you start to see an H-bar price that's getting close to $1, I would be selling. That's a 5x from here, okay? I think a lot of people, it's interesting. Because the market has been going sideways for so long, I think people are being, in some senses, I'm seeing certain corners and pockets of the market where people are getting way too conservative. Oh my God, I hope my altcoin portfolio just does a 2 or 3x. When really, based on your product mix, the distribution of what you're holding, you have the potential to maybe see a 5, 10x or more. I think people have gotten really conservative. But there are also pockets of communities that I think have very unrealistic expectations. I'm not going to name them. I think many communities out there. Many communities. I mean, even Caspa community. I see ridiculous price targets out there. Caspa's going to $15. Caspa is not going to $15 this year or next year. Okay, that is not happening. Okay, in the future, could it hit $15? Of course it could. But we're here talking about this cycle, right? So I think a lot of people in the H-bar community, since we're talking about it, I think there are some unrealistic expectations out there that it's going to hit $2, $3, $4, $5. It's not going to happen this cycle. If it gets close to $1, I would highly recommend that you consider scaling out of the majority of your investment. That's just my say. Speaking of just my say, let's take a look at say, because I was just charting this the other day, and it really looked like it was making a turnaround. So again, descending resistance, similar to ICP in the sense that we have this descending resistance, but I really like what I'm seeing here because we're creating these higher lows. ICP's just been ranging in the same spot. Here, we're creating some nice higher lows, and we're heading up. This is the story of this chart. We're trying to reverse the trend. Now we're coming up to major resistance right in this area. Can we clear this? Can we break out, get a little exhausted, pull back, and then continue moving up? That's what I would watch for say, but this chart looks good. I like this chart. To me, I see symmetry in the chart. It's easy to map out the price confluence. It's not really messy. I like this chart. Wojak. Oh, I still hold my Wojak. Let's take a look at Wojak. Now, the thing we have to understand with Wojak is it's an extremely small market cap. So very important point to illustrate. Volatility works in both directions. Okay, volatility works in both directions. I was looking at this the other day. We can just take that off. I was looking at how long the corrections were. Volatility works in both directions, to the upside and downside. So with a smaller token like this, where it doesn't take a lot of liquidity to move it, if the market's at a place where it's sort of stagnant or in a downtrend, you do have a higher likelihood, not a certainty, but a higher likelihood of seeing more volatility to the downside. But what does it mean when the market starts to go up? When the market starts to turn risk on, because that's the environment that we're entering. The business cycle tells us we're entering, I think the PM, I have to check. I have to check the PMI, but so I'm not going to comment on it. But anyway, we're entering the part of the business cycle where we should start to see expansion, and the part of the business cycle where it's going to be a more risk-on environment. Now, a risk-on environment, okay, just to be clear, it goes hand in hand, and we're going to have to end this live stream shortly. Hold on a second. Yes, I took a break from work to do this. I took my lunch break to do this, so I have to get back here in a moment. But the risk-on environment goes hand in hand with the Bitcoin dominance chart. This chart is extremely bearish, which is bullish for altcoins. We broke a downtrend, and this more than likely is just going to continue bleeding. This is a risk-on environment. We're entering that stage. We're at an inflection point, hence the thumbnail, where altcoins are going to start to dominate the narrative. Every cycle this happens. When Bitcoin outperforms everything for 90% of the cycle, which we looked at yesterday, always happens, people say altcoins are dead. Now the narrative is there's too many altcoins. Well, they can't all go up and blah, 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 blah. The vast majority of really good tokens with good charts are going to see massive price expansions. That's what leads to Bitcoin dominance dropping. That's what leads to total others going up massively in value, okay? Now, in terms of Wojak, once the market starts to turn to the upside and we're in more of a risk-on environment, you should see volatility work the same way to the upside. The chart is not as strong as I would have liked to have seen. So, ideally, what would I have liked to have seen? For this chart to be a little bit stronger, I would have liked to see us come up here, get rejected, and then move back up here and form this area of support. It's taking a little bit longer to do that. Now, what I am noting is we are in a falling wedge here. We're in a falling wedge. The other thing I'm going to be watching for on this chart, there's a lot of lines here. The other thing I'm going to be looking for on this chart is we have a potential ascending line of resistance. I want to see if we can start to clear this area here. And then this trend line that held for a long time, what happens if towards the end of the year, when we get up to this area, okay, can we break that level? If we start to break above that level and create significant new all-time highs, that's the time that's the time when I personally, as an investor, want to assess how smart it would be to start taking profits. Because more than likely, once we start to enter this area up here, Bitcoin may be flashing signs that it's at or near a top. So those are the things to keep in mind. So a little weaker than I'd like to see, but still looks a lot better than a lot of other charts out there. We still have the higher lows coming in, which can't be said for a lot of other projects. We still have the higher lows coming in. Keep in mind, once we moved off the low here in April, look how high up we went. Let's just measure it from here. Okay, we pulled a 3x, okay, earlier this year when we weren't even in a true risk-on environment. We weren't in any sort of alt season. So if we can do a 3x when altcoins are sort of blah, I mean, why can't we, once we enter a full risk-on environment, why can't we go significantly higher and pull a 20x or more? It's certainly quite possible. Okay, I think that's going to do it for the... Oh, I got one more charting question. I'll take a quick look, and then I have to get back to work here. Can you please chart AGI? Absolutely. Welcome in, Solo. I don't even know how to pronounce your name, so I'm not going to try it, but I'll just call you Solo. Thank you for joining the live stream. I appreciate it. All right, let's pull up the blank chart. AGI. I don't know this project. That's why I was looking it up real quick. AGI. AIG. That's an insurance company. AIG. I've never worked for them before, but I know of them. AGI USDT. Is this going to be a super low market cap, no volume, hard to chart project? Let's take a look. Oh, no. Okay. We got some price data. Oh, no. We have a decent amount of price data. Very nice. Okay. Thank you, Solo, for adding some value to the live stream by asking to chart something we've never taken a look at before. I like charting things that I've never taken a look at before, so I appreciate it. So we have descending resistance here. Now, similar to the wolf chart, the one thing that I like to see, okay, sort of another rounding bottom scenario. You can see we're in a sharp decline, but now look what has happened. We've sort of, I can't think of the word. We have sort of minimized the amount of downside that we're seeing in the market. We've sort of stabilized in this price area, and it's sort of forming a potential rounding bottom, and it might want to shoot up. So really good to see. In terms of areas of support that I'd like to see hold, really it's this line here. I'm not going to get too cute. It's really this line. I don't want to break below this line. If we did, okay, if that happens, I don't see a falling wedge. I was going to tell you a falling wedge, but no, not a falling wedge. So we don't want to break this line because really, if we did, this is more of a downwards channel, which is not bullish. A falling wedge is bullish, but a downward channel is not. So watch for the descending line of resistance. We have our line of support. We'll take a look at the technicals in a moment. In terms of resistance, I mean, this is pretty... I like this chart because it's very clean. That's why I was excited when you asked me, after I took a look here, to chart this. I love charting things that are super clean. I mean, I like a challenge, but it's almost a waste of time when you start charting things that are not clean and they're messy charts. Yeah, right there. So you got, in terms of areas of resistance, I would say around 7 to 8 cents. And then you're looking at like 27 cents, okay? Once you start to clear 27 cents, then, I mean, again, when we're in the heat, okay, a couple comments here. When we're in the heat of alt season and with a smaller market cap like this, I believe it's smaller market cap. I thought I saw it was. And it looks like it's a new project. Once you start to clear 27 cents, you're going to be setting new all-time highs with this thing. Now, this is only sitting at 5 cents. So to even get back to all-time highs, you're looking at nearly a 14x. So if you theorized, if I'm correct in what I'm saying, and bullish momentum continues within this chart, and we break 27 cents, and we come down to this area, and we start to consolidate, and we break up, this is what I'm saying. I think there are pockets of people out there that are just way too conservative with some of their price targets. There's absolutely no reason you can't overshoot here, get up to, I don't know, let's just say $2, and then start to correct. If you went up to $2 without even reasonability checking it, just to say we overshot 68 cents, okay? We did more than a 3x from the all-time high, which I don't think is unreasonable, having charted many of these things before. From current prices, just to get to all-time highs, it's 1,100%. And then if you went up to the $2 range, I mean, it gets insane. You're talking like a 50x, a 45x. But your success, let me be clear, Solo. Your success in selling out is being honest with yourself in terms of where the market's at. Is it frothy? Is it time to begin considering selling? And how strong your chart is. There's no reason this has to create a new all-time high. This chart could collapse, especially a smaller market cap. This chart could come up here and then all of a sudden come back down here, and by the time we're ready to lift off, we just don't have as much momentum. So you have to be honest with yourself in terms of the strength of the chart. But right now, I like what I'm seeing. There are encouraging signs that we could see a turnaround in this chart. Now let's take a look at the technicals real quick. I like the RSI. Woo! I love that RSI. That is what I like to see. Now that gets me even more excited about this chart. Check out that bullish divergence. The chart is moving down and sideways, and the relative strength index is increasing. There is strength building in this chart, even though if you singularly, that's not a word. I just created a word, I think I just created a word. If you just looked at the price data in a silo environment, it doesn't really look too strong, right? We're trying to find our bearings. But now when we put all the pieces of the puzzle together and we look at the technicals, we see, hey, the stochastic RSI is bullish. It's above 20. Blue's above orange. We have bullish divergence on the RSI. And this MACD is attempting to make its way up to a positive trigger here, which we haven't seen in a very long time. So I like this. I like this setup. I think personally, I never offer financial advice on this channel. That is not what we do on this channel. But if I was looking to get into this project, I would be accumulating a large amount in the area we're at right now. I would not be waiting for a pullback. I would be accumulating now in anticipation of a break at some point. It's not about getting too cute and picking the perfect spot to buy. Anything in this area, if this chart remains bullish, anything in this area is going to be a really nice buy. As long as the chart holds together. So, okay. Well, that's going to do it. I appreciate everyone showing up. Don't know when I'm going to live stream again, but click the bell icon for all notifications to know when I go live on weekdays that I choose, and maybe a weekend here or there. We just never know. So make sure you click that bell icon for all notifications. Until next time, let's all spread awareness, and let's carry the education forward. Take care, everybody.